It's the end of an era, and more era than one today. I am watching this incredibly late. It is 11:30 at night. I spent most of the day wandering around Vancouver, checking out all of the Taylor Swift activities that have been happening because it's the last weekend of the Eras tour as well this weekend. So, yeah, trying to soak in the sights because I knew that I couldn't get tickets and I'm very mad about it. Yeah, we'll see how the race goes. Pretty likely that McLaren's going to win the constructors just because Charles is starting at the back and the McLarens are 1-2. But this is Formula One and you could always have a Latifi. So, interestingly, Jack Doohan is in for Esteban Ocon this race. They said they did it because Esteban wanted to do the postseason Haas test, which I think makes partial sense. But honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think that they were worried about Esteban having a conflict of interest in the fact that he could be incentivized to do poorly this race weekend to impact Alpine in the championship, allowing Haas to go ahead of them, meaning they have more money to develop next year. Not sure if Esteban would ever think about something like that, but I wonder if that's something that played on their minds to be like, we can't have this guy race in this race. But yeah, just a bit of a silly silly thing to do. So it's crazy how many reserve drivers we've had this year come in. Okay, we got Franco and Charles at the back. Ugh, Charles, what a terrible qualifying. And then both Williams with the grid penalty as well, because they have run out of parts for the year. Lewis had a struggle, but he did get taken out by a random bollard that got knocked under his floor by K-Mag. So what are you gonna do? Rumor is Lawson is getting the Red Bull seat, which is so stupid. I don't understand why they're not giving Yuki a chance. And Liam has not impressed this year. He impressed last year when he stepped in for Daniel, but this year he hasn't been that great, I think. So I don't know about that Red Bull. Fascinating to see how Charles does from the back. Basically, Ferrari to win the championship have to have one of the McLarens DNF and then the other one finish kind of like bottom half of the points, which I don't think is going to happen. And they have to have one of Leclerc sides win. I watched the F2 race this morning and oh, you gotta feel for Hadjar for stalling on the grid when he's in this championship battle. Just absolutely brutal way for it to end. I'm sure he'll probably have a spot in F1 though next year with the rumor going around that Checo is going to be done after this year, which fucking finally.
Thank you for these 9 races. You made my dream come true.
Oh, Compito sounds so emotional. I'm hoping for some points by VB this race because he's starting in 9th. It's interesting that like the last 5 years, maybe even more than that, the driver who has won Abu Dhabi has gone on to win the championship in the following year. We'll see if that trend continues or not. It's lights out and away we go. Oh, someone looked like they stalled. Oh my god!
And Piastri facing the wrong way. Verstappen spinning around 360 degrees. He's managed to keep going.
Holy fuck. Oh no. Wow. Okay. That's turned the tide to Ferrari a little bit.
What a move down the inside from the Haas, getting past Sergio Perez.
Oh, Sergio spun.
Sergio Perez
It's chaos.
The two Red Bulls having a right old kerfuffle on this first lap.
What a chaotic first lap. Wow, Gasly podium. Oh, VB's fallen way back.
Leclerc already up to P12.
No, Leclerc's at 8th. What the hell? Charles, that's incredible. Okay, let's see this race start again. Did someone stall? It almost looked like someone stalled at the back. Maybe, no, maybe not. Max dive bombed. And he tapped Oscar. Wow. That's Oscar being like, Max ain't doing that shit to me. but this is not good for the constructors.
And that is Sergio Perez. And as we were saying, this could
What a
be
way
his
to end his
final
career
race
at Red Bull.
for the Red Bull team.
Man, how did Leclerc do that? He just managed to stay out of trouble. I would love to see his onboard. Magnussen made up a bunch too.
Then comes George Russell making a move with DRS on Pierre Gasly, who's also got
Oh,
DRS.
Georgie. Oh, but good one, George. Or whoa, who's your name? Pierre. Okay, yeah, let's see Oscar's start.
Is there a chance of Oscar? Oh, and he
Oh,
touches him.
Oscar, what is
There
going on with you,
Franklin
bud?
Colapinto.
He's probably killed Colapinto's diffuser. Oh, Colapinto is a puncture. Dang. Verstappen and Piastri under investigation. Oh, so who's going to get the penalty from that one? Oh, Oscar's got a box. So they're probably pitting Oscar to get him on a different strategy, and he's just going to have to go pretty long on 2 sets of hards. Red Bull confirmed third in the constructors because of Checo's.
For this first incident.
Verstappen 10-second penalty. Yep. Oscar had the apex.
I mean, I was just super unlucky. I was all the way up the inside before the crash.
Not quite. Whoop. Bye-bye. Wow, the seas parted for him. Okay, can we get Charles's on board, please? Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to see him. He was in his blind spot. Oscar. Oh, that must have been where Charles made up so many spots. Look at that. I think he did like a quintuple overtake there. Yeah, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quadruple overtake. That's insane.
We are P8.
What a lap by Charles. Wow. Oh, VB. Oh, well, there goes Sans at his points. What's next? No points. Oh, Charles. Yeah. Oh, K-Mag has a good run, though. And then you can see the straight line speed difference between them. Charles has a motor in him. He must have that laser focus, like, I got fucked in quali, I gotta make it up. Georgie, going for it on Gasly.
Again, there is no room around
That
the
Alpine.
outside or the inside at turn 9.
It's interesting how good it's been lately. Could Alpine sneak into this constructors battle for 2025? Oh my lord. 5-team battle would be insane. Oscar Radio.
Verstappen has been given a 10-second time penalty.
I finally, for the first time ever, tried a racing sim earlier today. I am so bad at it. I spun so many times and also barrel rolled several times. Yeah, wasn't great. I think I'll need to put some more practice into one of those kinds of machines. If you guys are watching this, if you could like and subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, which I'm hoping to get to before the end of the calendar year. So I can start off the crazy 2025 season with that number reached. I will also be putting out some end of season content in the next couple weeks. Probably have a race tier list, and we'll do a end of year driver ranking, and I'll review my predictions from the start of the year, which I'm sure aged terribly. Oh, 10 seconds for Oscar as well. I think that first lap by Charles might be his best lap he's ever done.
Wheel to wheel out of turn 9.
Ooh,
and as they
good one,
exit
Charles.
that turn 9, Charles Leclerc is
Already up
once
to
again.
5th. Jesus. Albano, false start. Jeez, since they've changed how they track those, there's been so many more false starts. So it makes you wonder, like, how often in the past people were doing it, if it's like been a pretty common thing this year. Gasly is defending so well. Oh, no investigation for Alex. I thought those were pretty cut and dry.
Here comes Pierre Gasly.
Oh, Gasly gets him
switches
easy.
to the inside. Alpine against RB.
Oh, Yuki got him back though. Did he? Oh, he did. Oh, Baghdad's going around the outside. Wow. Oh, watching these two races is kind of fun too. Yeah, at this point, I don't see how Norris doesn't win this race. Hulk got Yuki. I think Yuki's starting to fall apart a bit here, so he might have to pit soon. Ooh, Yuki. Oh, God. The clutches seem to be a very fickle thing. Okay, yeah, they're doing maybe a 2-stop with Charles. Maybe they can make a 1-stop work. I don't know. So Gasly basically undercut him. That's wild.
Nothing doing
Stay
there.
out.
That is the most exasperated.
I was gonna say, like, Yuki, what's wrong, buddy? Yeah, why are they keeping Yuki out? This is gonna fuck him.
So 2 cars then into the pits. So no,
This is very confusing because they had the other 2 on track, and one's battling in the pits, the other's battling on track. Oh, is he gonna get Pierre here too? Oh, he thought about it. This is a tough part of the track to pass on though. Yuki finally pitting? Or Lawson is. Gosh, it's so confusing. Girl, so confusing.
Need to as
oh, he stalled again. Oh, that was Lawson. Lawson right here. Uh-oh.
No.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, how did it stay on the whole lap then?
Can they get that car serviced and back out again in about 2.5 seconds? And
Oh,
guess
that was
what?
lightning
yes,
quick.
They can. As you can see, harvesting, charging up the battery, Pierre Gasly.
Why didn't George go for a dive there? I feel like he had quite a big gap there.
He can make a move now.
He can, but I think
Okay.
George was a bit nervous of just getting everything fully up to temperature before he starts lunging into the braking zones.
And he's definitely going to get Pierre Gasly into turn 9. To me, that was very clever thinking. Franco Colapinto to his Williams team is going to end with a retirement. He's been called into the pit lane to retire the car.
Darn, poor Franco. Why is it that every single time someone's last race is Abu Dhabi, they always retire from the race? It's happened so many times. Like,
Red Bull are going to bring Max Verstappen in quite quickly. They were waiting for a safety car, which would transform his race.
yeah, because Max is going to have to stop for another 10 seconds. Oscar's going to have to pit here soon again.
Possible P3. So I reckon we could do this, but
That is optimistic.
10 seconds stop, go. That's 32-second penalty.
Oh, 10 seconds stop, go.
Being released in an unsafe condition, which is
Oh
harsh
my
blow on
God.
Liam Lawson. This is the slowest pit stop Max Verstappen will have had this season because his team can't touch the car for 10
That's a
seconds.
fake news. Have you forgotten about fucking Mexico, Crofty? That was 20 seconds of sitting there. What are you talking about? Zero memory.
Can we ask for 20 seconds? Stupid idiots.
You can't say that about the referees. You can't say that. That's just not fair.
Come on, Max. You're bigger than that and better than that. Slow-moving Sauber.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Uh-oh. Oh. He's lost half his wing and his wheel. What happened to VB? Is he going to retire from his last race too? Honestly, see what I mean? Every single time. Now we just gotta like protect Joe at all costs.
Kevin Magnussen, who'd just come out of the
Oh.
pits. Magnussen
Oh.
gets past. Bottas locks
Oh.
up.
Oh no. That just seemed like Valtteri's car just was not stopping. Oh no, is K-Mag gonna have to retire too? Shit.
oh, isn't that just great?
Oh no. Every single year it goes without fail. K-Mag's going around again, I think. But he went on just softs for some reason. I don't know about that one. Oh my god, every single year. I'll have to go back because like last year obviously there wasn't any like driver swaps from the end of the year to the start of this year, but 2 years ago I think it was at least like 4 of the people who are either retiring or changing teams that like DNF'd. Unserved penalty for Oscar. Oh, they changed it from outstanding penalty. Okay, yeah, let's get Charles's. Okay, so he missed Yuki. then Pierre. Or no, that's Doohan. And then he avoids the Max situation with Oscar. This got to be overtake of the race. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, you mean F1 TV's actually showcasing things that Charles is doing? I feel like they don't sometimes. Like, we didn't get any of Charles's end of race radio after Vegas, which was so silly.
Look at this. Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Max
Hey, it's the
Verstappen.
3 world champions on the grid.
Just before that pit stop from Lewis, Bono came on the radio to say strap mode 5 and it's hammer time.
Oh, one last hammer time. Let me know what you guys think about this, but like, I'm starting to get kind of infuriated by Sky Sports commentary. I mean, I'm sure any Max fans out there probably understand, but I think the bias is really starting to get to me. And also just like, they make a lot more mistakes too. Since I've stopped recording my reactions to qualifying, I've started listening to the F1 TV coverage, and it's just so much better because they're forced to be unbiased because it's a service that is provided all over the world. And I mean, like, Will Buxton can still be Will Buxton, but at least like during the actual racing, it's not as biased one way or the other. They seem to just call it like they see it, and they don't really scold someone for making a mistake more than others, you know? I would honestly prefer to watch F1 TV, but I know that probably most of my audience watches the Sky Sports coverage, so I don't know what people would prefer for me to react to, but I'm kind of over it. And I think for me, like, it more so irritates me because of Charles. Although part of that is just F1 TV's coverage in general. Like, what we're showing is shown to every audience around the world, and then it's up to each country to make their own broadcast based on the footage that they're given. So maybe it's just F1 TV not showing certain things too, but I don't know. It's annoying, is my review. I don't think Ferrari could have done anything more in this race. I think Lando's just been dominant this race, which, as I said at the start of this, the driver who won Abu Dhabi will win the championship the next year has been the trend. However, I'm curious how well Charles could have done in this race if he wasn't starting in the back. Because clearly in that first lap, he had a lot of pace. Poor Gasly. It was going so well for him, but it's kind of... I think he's trying to push these tires to the end, and I don't think that's going to work. I think... It seems like, though, everyone's just going to stay out there and struggle. Because I don't think anyone wants to pit at this point.
In order to get him to the fringes of the top 10, and he goes very,
Oscar.
very wide.
Oh my god. Oh, big tank slapper.
Okay, let's get back into the rhythm.
I don't know what you call the rhythm, but this is the rhythm.
I think it's jazz freestyle.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. They need to show more of Charles's radios. This man is unhinged. It's more like exasperation and like annoyance from Charles than it is anger. I think that's what I appreciate. Someone whose radios I absolutely hate, though, are Isaac Hadjar. So if he's on the grid next year, I'm going to be annoyed. It's a bit much, is my review. So I'm sure they'll try and iron that out if he gets into F1. But yeah, I don't know what's been going on with Oscar. I mean, this one wasn't really his fault. He's been tailing off since Baku. And so I don't know if it's just fatigue or he hasn't really had much to fight for. We'll see how he is at the start of next year, but I think when we were in the middle of the season and he was doing really well, like Monza, Hungary, Baku, like I was kind of getting the feeling that he might be able to win over Lando next year, but I think the last half of this year is like, so I think he still has some learning to do before he'd be ready for a championship fight. It seems like, well, okay, Max started in 2016, and I don't think he was ready until probably the end of 2018. So like start of 2019, if he'd had the car, I think he might have been able to fight. So that's what, like 3 years into your career? So I think Oscar might still have one more year to go before he'd be ready to compete, which is kind of unfortunate timing because I don't have faith that the McLaren car is going to be very good in 2026 with them being a customer team. This has been a stinker of a race. Apart from that first lap, everything else has been terribly boring, which always seems to be the case at Abu Dhabi. Please change it back to Brazil as the last race. Oh my god, Lando's about to lap his own teammate. Yikes. Ooh, K-Megs hit the cliff on those softs too. Oh no. He's doing 130s. Wow. When Lewis pit, it was like 19 seconds, the gap, and it's down to 6. That's pretty impressive. And I was thinking there for a second, I was like, K-Meg's basically done a 3-stop because he pit and then immediately got rammed into by Bottas. And I was like, how is Lawson doing worse than that? But then I remembered his whole pit stop issue and the stop and go penalty that they never ended up showing. Yeah, I think the 1-stop was the way to go in this one because everyone who's done it is at the front and everyone who did a 2-stop is near the back. Yeah, driver of the day, Leclerc, I agree. Lando's lapped Alex. Oscar's next. 13 points. Ugh, that's... No, 14 points. That's too bad. Yeah, one of my videos I'm going to do this off season is figuring out who on earth is going to come out on top in the drivers and constructors next year. Like, I think there are 4 teams with a shot. I think the Mercs are still a little bit off, but at certain tracks they can look pretty good. So Max is 12 seconds behind Lewis, which, like, if you add back his penalty, like, he's still behind the Mercedes. So yeah, Red Bull's not looking great at this track this year. So I think we're going to see a changing of the guard next year. I think Max will obviously still be in the battle, but I think his team has lost a lot of personnel this year, and so I don't know if they're going to be able to recover.
They've got a yellow flag going on out there.
Liam Lawson stops.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Lawson stopped. He ran out of gas? Like, what? Ooh, engine blow up. Wow, it lasted all but 2 laps. In the season.
First time since 1998.
Wow,
McLaren
good for
are
McLaren.
Constructors champions because Lando Norris takes the checkered flag and wins.
I don't know why they had such a wide shot for that. Oh, and Lewis just got Russell when we were showing the finish line. I hate that. Show the battles. We just need like a short 5-second shot of the leader across the line. If you need it for like the footage, but switch to the battle. Good job, Lewis. Good job, Charles. Good recoveries. Oh, there's a Ferrari guy there congratulating them. That's nice. Oh, all the mechanics are hugging each other. Oh, that's so nice.
You deserve this. Thank you so much. It's been a special year.
Just wild thinking about where they were at the start of 2023 and where they are now. It's just crazy. All right, are we getting any donuts? I would doubt that McLaren or Ferrari have extra fuel in their car for donuts, but I would guess that the Mercedes are going to be able to do it. Gasly finished 7th, so they get P6 in the constructors. And then Haas still gets P7 and RB gets P8. I wonder if they're regretting dropping Daniel.
Thank you, Ferrari. It's been a pleasure driving for you guys. Forza Ferrari 7.
Oh, yeah, Lewis is doing donuts. Yeah. Charles is like, they have a special spot for Lewis? What? Aww. Wow. He's like hitting the car, but is he really saying goodbye to it, or is he saying, thank God I've got rid of this junk? Don't break his ribs, Zach. Gross, MBS. Ooh, Charles looks really tired. Oh, because he had food poisoning before this weekend, didn't he? So maybe he's still a bit dehydrated from that. Charles wants nothing to do with him. Side eye. Oh man, I can't wait for those two to drive together. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait for next year. This year's been so good, so it's kind of sad that it's over, but I'm hoping next year we'll actually have a full year championship battle and not a fake championship battle. I'm surprised they've been hanging out on the grid for as long as they have. Like, usually they do the interviews, but I don't know what they're doing right now. Oh, Oscar got into 10th. Okay. Oh, he got past Albin. Oh, poor Albano. But still 7 different constructors in the top 10.
Congrats, nevertheless, also for
Thank you very much.
P3 in the Drivers' Championship.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Darn. Lando finished a second. Okay, let's hear Lewis's radio. All right, yeah.
And that's the end of an era. Got to say, mate, it's been epic working with you.
Oh, Bono's tearing up. Okay, get MBS out of here. What is he even doing in the... Fuck off. I hate this guy so much. Oh my god, I can't even look at him right now.
Lando, he said it was strong. He said it. No comment.
No comment.
Yeah, the first lap I was PA. I overtook 11 people in.
I saw the screen and I was like, oh god, here he comes.
Oh god, here he comes. Do, 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 do. See, this is the kind of race that Lando would have needed like 4 or 5 races ago, where he's P1 and Max is P6. But Red Bull managed to turn it around just enough so that they didn't have that kind of gap for a lot of those races. I feel like Abu Dhabi does have the nicest trophies, though. And then, and I hate that they have the rose water fucking champagne bottles. It's so boring for the end of the year. Just doesn't spray the same. Alrighty, race result. Lando, Carlos, and Charles. Oh, man, if there wasn't for that rough stretch in the middle of the season for Ferrari, they could have probably done it. And Lewis fourth, so we still haven't seen that overtake on George. Max, Pierre, Nico, Fernando, Oscar, with K-Meg getting fastest lap. So a good send-off for him. Yeah, Alex fell off at the end there. Then Yuki, Joe, Lance, Jack, Kevin, and Liam. 3 laps down for Liam. Yikes. Oh, I guess because he DNF'd. And then VB, Franco, and Sergio didn't finish. So, yeah. That was like a hectic first lap, and then after that, like nothing happened that race. So, always a bit of a anticlimactic finish at Abu Dhabi, apart from when it isn't. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that Ferrari didn't manage to pull that one out, but McLaren just had the pace, and once Lando got ahead at the start, there was no chance anyone was catching him. So yeah, just so many changes coming for next year. I'm really excited for it to come, but I hate the winter break so much. It's so long. And well, actually, I don't mind it when it's between seasons after a dominant win, because then I'm like, thank God that's over. But this year I'm just kind of itching for more. So yeah, kind of bummed that it's over. I guess there's still a few things that we'll need to find out for next year, like whether Sergio's getting dropped, and I guess rumor is that Liam's getting that seat, which is so frustrating because he's been outperformed by Yuki in this season. Yeah, and then I guess we'll find out where all the drivers who are leaving their seats are going to end up. I think Kevin is going back to endurance racing, I think. Joe is sounding like he's probably going to get a reserve role somewhere. And Valtteri sounds like he might be getting a reserve role at Mercedes. Franco, we haven't heard anything about yet, so I wonder if there's still something going on there. Maybe Red Bull hasn't quite decided what to do with their second RB seat yet, although my guess would be it would go to Isaac Hadjar, which I'm kind of upset about. You guys will find out next year. He's not my favorite driver on the grid, or in the F2 grid, I will say that. Yeah, who else is leaving? I guess that's the bulk of it. And then it'll be fun to kind of see how the rookies do next year, and hopefully they'll add a little bit more chaos into the races, because this year had no safety cars for a big chunk of it. And so rookies always like to add a little bit of that kind of spice. Congrats to McLaren, the Robin of 3 years ago would have been super happy to find out that they won the constructors, but it's funny how things change, and I think Ferrari is my team now. Although I still feel like I'm not really a team person, because if Charles ever left Ferrari, I don't know if I would cheer for Ferrari as hard as I do. So it's kind of just depends on where my favorite driver is. Although I never really cheered for RB, even though Daniel was there. I think they were just too corporate. Anything that's too corporate kind of puts me off. I think I like the passion of Ferrari. And then I think Haas actually this year really jumped up in my favorite constructors rankings. Like, I don't know, maybe I was kind of over the whole Gunter stick there. And so this was kind of a refreshing reprise. Or if I was just like, I don't know, they just brought a lot to this season, I think. Like K-Meg's shenanigans at the start of the year. And then they really figured out their stride and they were consistent points finishers. At least Nico was for most of the second half of the year. Ollie being in there for a couple races was really cool to see. And yeah, they just did a fantastic job. So we'll see how they do next year and past that, because I know they have a Toyota partnership now as well. Stake, I'm just ready for that to be rebranded to Audi. Like, but even when they become Audi, like I don't really have much faith in that doing anything. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Nico is kind of thinking he made a mistake by a mistake by moving there, given that he's done so well for Haas this year and Haas has kind of turned into a points finisher. But I don't know. I think Sauber were finally starting to kind of figure out their stuff at the end of the year, so maybe it won't be too bad of an adjustment before they're kind of getting closer to the points. Williams just had an absolutely brutal year. Like it felt like this was the exact inverse of last year, where like in 2023, everything that could go right went right, especially for Albon. And this year, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And just the number of hours those mechanics had to put in to constantly fix the car, and just the number of chassis changes they had to do, the number of just like gigantic races. Like there was like 2 races this year where one of their drivers wasn't able to compete because of a terrible crash in practice or in qualifying. So just a brutal season for them. I honestly feel like the driver change that I'm actually more interested in is Carlos to Williams. I think Lewis to Ferrari is going to be very exciting, but I think we all kind of know what to expect from that. I think based off of this year, it's pretty clear to me that Charles is probably going to have the edge on him in qualifying, but I think they'll be really interesting to see kind of how they match in terms of race pace, because that's kind of something that we've seen with George and Lewis as well. Like it's very similar there. So I think we'll kind of get a sense to see how good Charles actually is. And also, is Lewis on the decline or not? Because he's been in a Mercedes car that hasn't suited him for several seasons. And so we'll see if he has a similar feeling with the Ferrari or if it is actually a better car and he's able to actually compete with it. But Carlos at Williams is interesting to me because I think we've said this for very many years, but like we don't really know how Alex Albon is as a driver, because he's only ever been up against Max, who absolutely obliterated him, or Latifi or Sargent, who Alex absolutely obliterated. It kind of got interesting there with Franco a little bit, and you saw the pressure kind of getting on Alex there with Franco doing well, but then Franco kind of tailed off as well once. I think that Franco, when he first started in F1, he knew he only had 9 races, and so he kind of was able to come in with no pressure on him. And so for that reason, he did really well. But then since he started doing well, he started getting interest for seats next year, which then put pressure on him, which then meant that his driving got worse. And then he lost the interest from other teams again. So I think he kind of came in with nothing to lose, kind of like a driver at the end of the season, like a Kevin or a Valtteri, and a Joe as well, where like they didn't have any expectations on them at the end of the year because they had lost their seat. They had no pressure to like perform well, but then they end up performing better. It's funny how the brain works. But yeah, anyways, so we're actually going to see with Carlos and Alex how good of a driver Alex is because we know how good Carlos is. He's pretty established. We know that he's like pretty close to Charles's level. But yeah, I think if you have that kind of as a benchmark, you can now kind of compare Alex to him. And so I'm really curious to see what that dynamic is like and whether Williams is going to improve, because it seems like every single team that Carlos joins, the team that he goes to gets better after he joins them. I think he must have a very analytical mind. And so I think he's able to kind of get more involved in the engineering aspect of things, in the race strategy aspect of things. And I think that's where his strength really lies. And maybe that's something that Williams has kind of been lacking. And so I think they might improve in that respect. But yeah, so I'm very interested to see how that pairing goes. That's kind of where we're at. So please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content. I'm so close to that 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And yeah, I guess I'll see you all for a few more videos this year before we get geared for 2025. Toodles.